Hey guys, we're back with part 3 and we're doing math, paper 4H from November 2009. Okay, so we left off at question 17 and 17 is really simple. Asking you to, they've given you this expression and they're asking you to find the value of t when n is equal to 8.6 and e is equal to 0.2. So all you got to do is substitute this as n and this as e in two places, sorry. Yeah, so it becomes t is equal to 8.6 times 1 plus 0.2 over 1 minus 0.2. So you're going to get t is equal to 8.6 times 1.2 over 0.8, which is equal to 8.6 times 1.2 is nothing but 10.32, and this is being divided by 0.8, and your final answer is going to be 12.9. Okay, 17b, you're being asked to take this formula, and make e the subject. Okay, so how are you going to do that? First of all, let's expand everything out. Let's make it less complicated, less confusing. Okay, so we'll expand the top. So t is equal to n times 1 plus n times 3. So it becomes n plus ne over 1 minus e. Now we'll multiply both sides by 1 minus e. So we're going to get n plus ne is equal to t minus te. Alright, so since we need to make e the subject, what we're going to do is we're going to take everything, like all the e's, put them on one side. So we're going to basically add te over here, and we're going to subtract n over here on both sides. Sorry, subtract n and add te on both sides, right? So we're going to get, and these are to make equal, whatever. Yeah, so we're going to get t minus n is equal to ne plus te. Now we got the e's on one side and we got the t and n on the other side. So now, how do we simplify this? How do we get rid of all these n's and these t's? Basically what we can do is factorization, and the highest common factor is an e, because they share an e in common. So we take e out, and we divide ne by e, so we get n, and we get te by e, and we're going to get plus t is equal to t minus n. So now, all you got to do is divide both sides by n plus t. So that means that e is equal to n plus t, not n plus t, is equal to t minus n over n plus t. Sorry if you can't see that bottom bit, but it's n plus t. Yeah, so it's n plus t, okay? And that's it. Okay, question 8 is about trigonometry, and they've given you this triangle, ABC, and they've basically split it into two right-angle triangles, and they're asking you to find the angle, this angle here, and basically how you're going to do this. First of all, since this is a right-angle triangle, first of all what we're going to do is we're going to find this side over here, okay? So how do we find that side? It's nothing but Pythagoras theorem, and if you remember your Pythagoras theorem, hypotenuse squared is equal to the other side squares added together, so a squared plus b squared. And hypotenuse is the side opposite to the right angle. So 8.3 squared is equal to, let's call this side, by the way, we'll call it x, okay? So 8.3 squared is equal to a squared, which is 7.2 squared, plus b squared, we'll call it x squared. So x squared is equal to, subtract 7.2 squared on both sides, so 8.3 squared minus 7.2 squared. So x is equal to, you square root this answer, square root of 8.3 squared minus 7.2 squared. So square root of 17.05, which is nothing but square root of 17.05, which is equal to 4.1. We'll put it to three significant figures, so 4.13. So we know that x is 4.13. Now let's call the angle we have to find y. So we have to find y. And now, first of all, I'm going to introduce you, basically, So basically, first of all, look at this triangle you've got here. You've got the opposite side of the angle, which is x, which is 4.13, and you've got the adjacent side, which is the side where the right angle and the angle lie on. So what function relates opposite and adjacent? You have to think about your SOHCAHTOA. So opposite and adjacent, it's nothing but the tan function. So tan is equal to opposite over adjacent. It's this function. So that means that tan of y is equal to opposite side, which is 4.13, which is this side, over the adjacent side, which is this side, 3.9. So y is equal to tan inverse, and you'll find this in your calculator, of 4.13 over 3.9. It's not y is equal to 4.13 over tan 3.9, because tan is a function. So that means y is equal to 46.64, but I'll give it to one decimal place, so 46.6 degrees. So angle DBC is equal to 46 degrees. 46.6 degrees. Alright, so question 19 gives you this equation for a particle moving through a fixed point, whatever, and they're asking you to find an expression for velocity. Now, first of all, I want to tell you that this is, S is nothing but displacement, as they say in the question, and T is time. When you differentiate a displacement, when you differentiate ds over dt, basically displacement with respect to time, what you're going to get is velocity. So how do we differentiate, and what is differentiation? Now look over here. Basically, if you have anything like, if you have like an equation where s is equal to x to the power of n, when you differentiate s with respect to x, you're going to get n, basically this thing comes down here, gets multiplied by x, and then gets subtracted by 1. So let's say you had x squared, it would become 2 would come down here, so it would become 2x, 2 to the power of 2 minus 1, so it becomes 2x to the power of 1, which is 2x. So that's it. And let's say you had s is equal to a constant 6, and you are differentiating ds with dx. It would become nothing but 0, which is what I've written here. Basically, if you're differentiating a constant, it just becomes 0. So now, all we got to do is differentiate this equation with respect to time, which is t, and we're going to get velocity. So that means that ds over dt, or velocity, is equal to 3 comes down here, so it becomes 3 times t, 3 minus 1, minus 2 comes down, so minus 10 times t times 2 minus 1, and 8 is a constant number, so it becomes 0, so plus 0. So this becomes 3t squared minus 10t, that's it. And that is your velocity. Now question 19b is asking you to find the time at which the acceleration of the particle is 20 meters per second. Now we got to find basically an expression for acceleration. Now how do we do this? Basically, if you differentiate displacement with respect to time once, you're going to get velocity. If you differentiate velocity with respect to time, you're going to get acceleration. So that means we're going to do now dv over dt. Okay? Or, if you differentiate displacement with respect to time, the second time, you're going to get acceleration. So let's just differentiate this, and it's like differentiating it the second time. So what we're going to get is 6t minus 10, because this 2 comes down here, it gets multiplied by 3, so it becomes 6, and 2 minus 1 is nothing but 1, and negative 10t to the power of 1, the 1 comes and multiplies by 10, and 1 minus 1 is 0, so t to the power of 0 is 1. So it becomes 6t minus 10. So that's the expression for acceleration. And now they're asking you to find the time at which the acceleration is 20. So 20 is equal to 6t minus 10. Now all you got to solve for is time, and you're going to find your answer. So 6t is equal to 20, add 10 on both sides, so 20 plus 10. So t is equal to 30 over 6, which is equal to 5 seconds. So acceleration is 20 at 5 seconds. Okay, question 20, they've given the two sets P and Q, and they've said the number of elements is n, the number of elements in P is 9, and the number of elements in Q is 5. So basically they haven't given you the exact elements which are in each, right? So they might have overlapping elements, or like they might have similar elements, but you don't know. So 20a is asking you to find a number of elements in P union Q. This U is nothing but union, and it means all the numbers that are possible in both sets. When P intersect Q is nothing, meaning when they have nothing in common. This means intersect, and it means what they have in common. So if they have nothing in common, that means the number of elements in P will be equal to, that means that the number of elements in P and any element in Q, they don't have any common numbers. Meaning the number of elements in P union Q should be all of the numbers that are possible, which is 9 plus 5. So that's 14. Since there are 9 elements in P and 5 elements in Q, and none of them have anything in common, so P union Q, all the possible numbers should be all the numbers in P plus all the numbers in Q. So it becomes 14. So 20b is asking you to find the value of n number of elements in P union Q, which is what we discussed earlier, when Q CP. This is not a C, it's actually, it means subset. And what it means is, like, for example, there's one set like this, we'll call it A, and then there's another set inside it, we'll call it B. So B is a subset of A, because it's like a small part of A. So basically, in this case, if you look at this set, if you draw this set in your head, you're going to have P here, and you're going to have Q. Alright? So since Q is a subset of P. And there are 9 elements in P. And all of the elements in Q, which are 5, are part of P. Because Q is a subset of P. That means all of the elements in Q are a part of P. So that means that number of P union Q should be 9. Because all of the elements in P are in Q. Because Q is the small part of P. So number of elements in P is, number of elements in P union Q is equal to 9. Because all of the elements in P, see, all of these elements here are already included inside Q. So it's just 9. Alright, so question 20C1 is asking you to complete the Venn diagram when the number of elements in P intersect Q, which means what they have in common, is equal to 3. So first of all, you know that they have 3 numbers in common. So that's good. So write that in the middle. Because this region over here is what they have in common, like what they have in common. So you write 3 here. Now, if you had 9 elements in the whole of P, and 3 of these elements are already written here, that means in this part there should be 6 elements, which is because it's 9 minus 3. So that means that if you know that there are 3 elements here, here should be 6 since it's 9 minus 3. And the same thing for Q. If there were 5 elements in this whole thing, and 3 elements are already here, that means over here, there should be 5 minus 3, so 2 elements. And there is your completed Venn diagram. So there's 6, 3, and then 2. Okay, so now C2. They're asking you to find the number of P union Q when P union Q is, number of P union Q is equal to 3. So it just can be applied to basically this Venn diagram over here. So P union Q, what is it? It's nothing but this whole region over here. Because P and Q. So all of the numbers that are possible in P and Q. And it's nothing but, if you look at this diagram, it's nothing but all of the elements possible in P, which are here. All of the elements possible in Q, which are here. And also all of the elements which are possible in P union Q. In a P intersect Q. So it's nothing but 6 plus 3 plus 2, which is equal to 11. Because all of the numbers that are possible are all of the numbers over here in this area. All of the numbers that are also possible are all of the numbers in this area. And also all of the numbers that are possible are all of the numbers in this area. So it's 11. So it's just adding all of them. Okay, question 21 is a bit of a tricky question, and it's basically giving you the circle, and it's not a complete circle, and they're asking you to find the diameter of the circle. Now, if we completed this circle, it would look like this, and the whole diameter would be this whole line over here. So now, how do we find this out? It's a bit complicated, okay? So I'm going to guide you through step by step. So first of all, we got to find out what do we have. We have that this is 24. And this is the midpoint of 24, meaning on each side it's 12 and 12. Next, we know that this whole length, LM, is 18. Alright? So now what can we find out? Basically what we can say is that since this is 18, this half of the diameter should be 9 since it's the radius, and this other half of the diameter, which goes down to here, should also be 9. Alright, so first of all, we need to find the side OM. Now how are we going to do this? First, we can, with what we have, we can find the side ALM. So wait, let me just get all of this out of the way. We need to first find the side of ALM. Alright, so we've got a right angle triangle here because of the straight line, and we've got that this is 12 and this is 18. So how do we find angle L? Angle L is nothing but, you remember your SOHCAHTOA, tan of angle L is equal to opposite, which is 12 over here, over adjacent, which is 18. So angle L is equal to tan inverse of 12 over 18, which is nothing but 33.7 degrees. Okay? Now, knowing your circle properties, and if you know that L is equal to 33.7 degrees, and you know that O, these two triangles lie on the same segment, knowing your circle properties, you should know that this is nothing but twice the angle over here. Okay? So it's nothing but 2 times 33.7, which is 67.4 degrees. Because the angle at the, when these two triangles are on the same segment, which is this segment, the angle at the center is twice the angle at the circumference. Okay, so now I'm just going to little bit complete the circle to give you a bit better understanding. And I'm going to call this bit x, which we have to actually find out so that we can find out the total radius. So, first of all, we need to find out OM, because we need to find out the length of this side. Because only then we can compare it to the 9 which it's supposed to add. Because only then we can find out the whole diameter. So this side, if you look at these two sides, you're given the opposite side, and you're also given the angle over here. So you need to find out this side over here. So that's the adjacent side, and you have the opposite side. So tan of 67.4 is equal to the opposite, which is 12, over the adjacent, which is, we'll call this y. Okay? So y is equal to 12 over tan 67.4. So y is equal to, I'm expecting you know all this algebra, it's pretty basic. 4.995, we'll call it 5, okay? Okay, so now we know that this OM length is 5. We know this whole LM length is 18. And basically we know that, so if this whole length is 18, that means that this length should be 18 minus 5, which is 13. And so, wouldn't you agree with me when I say that, let's say we call this x, 13 plus 5 plus, sorry, ignore all of that. Basically, if this is 13, right, and this is the radius of the circle, that means the total diameter of the circle should be 2 times 13. Because let's say I have a circle, and this is the center, and let's say this is 12. And that's the radius. So if I continue this side, this should also be 12, because all the radii are equal. So that means that all I gotta say is, since 13 is the radius, so forget all of this x, because that was a stupid thing by me, sorry. So since the radius is equal to 13, the diameter is equal to 2 times 13, or 2 times radius, which is 26 centimeters. So the diameter, which is this whole length, is equal to 26. Again, it was a bit complicated when I was explaining, so just please post a question. I will answer it as soon as I can. Okay, question 22. You're just being given these two formulas, 1 and 2. I'll call them 1 and 2. And you're being asked to solve the simultaneous equations. So first of all, I'm going to take equation 1, and I'm going to make x a subject. So I'm going to say x is equal to, I hope you know this. Subtract y on both sides and divide both sides by -3. You're going to get minus 4 plus y over 3. Or y minus 4 over 3. Okay? Now, what I'm going to do is I'm going to take this y minus 4 over 3 as x and substitute it into equation 2. So I'm going to say y minus 4 over 3 squared plus y squared is equal to 34. Now expanding this, I'm going to get y minus 4 squared over 3 squared is plus y squared is equal to 34. So now if I continue this up here, I'm going to get y squared minus 4y plus 16 over 9 plus y squared is equal to 34. Now, from here, I'm going to get, if I get a common denominator, so I multiplied this by 9 to get a common denominator, I'm going to get y squared minus 8y plus 16 plus 9y squared is equal to, over 9 is equal to 34. Multiply both sides by 9 and simplify this part over here. I'm going to get 10y squared minus 8y plus 16 is equal to 9 multiplied by 34, which is nothing but 306. And now subtracting 306 on both sides, I get this equation, 10y squared minus 8y. I subtract 306 on both sides, so 16 minus 306 is nothing but minus 290 is equal to 0. Okay, so now we have this quadratic equation. Now we need to solve it to find two values of y. So what we're going to do is we're going to use the b squared minus 4 plus minus square root it's minus b plus minus square root of b squared minus 4ac over 2a. And b is nothing but this, c is nothing but this, and a is nothing but this. So you're going to get minus 8 plus minus square root of minus 8 squared minus 4 times 10 times negative 290 over 2 times 10. So simplifying this, you're going to get 8 plus or minus square root of 64 minus 4 times 10 is negative 40. Negative 40 times 290 is negative 11600. So it becomes plus 6100, all over 20. Sorry, but I have very little space, so I have to keep erasing. So you get 8 plus or minus 11664, square root of 11664 over 20. Now you take the two possibilities, you can get 8 plus square root 11664 over 20, or 8 minus square root 11664 over 20. So you get 8 plus 108 divided by 20, which is equal to 5.8, or you get 8 minus 108 over 20, which is equal to negative 5. Okay, so you have these two values of y after so much calculation. So all you got to do is substitute it back into equation 1, which is the simpler equation, and I suggest you do it, to get values of x. So when y is equal to 5.8, so 5.8 minus 3 times x is equal to 4. So negative 3x is equal to 4 minus 5.8, which is negative 1.8. And so x is equal to negative 1.8 divided by negative 3, which is nothing but 0.6. And when y is equal to 5, negative 5, you get negative 5 minus 3x is equal to 4. So negative 3x is equal to 9, and x is equal to 9 over negative 3, which is negative 3. So now your final answers are when y is equal to 3, x is equal to 3 over 5 or 0.6, y is equal to 5, 4 over 5 or 5.8, and when x is equal to negative 3, y is equal to negative 5. And those are your answers. Okay, so we're finally done with this paper, Math Paper 4H from November 2009. If you have any questions, please comment, rate, subscribe. Please comment below and also rate and subscribe this video. And thanks a lot guys. See you on the next video.